and welcome back to Voice Behind the Case, a space where we slow down, look deeper, and tell the full stories behind tragedies that deserve more than a headline. Before we begin, I want to ask you to please take a moment to subscribe, like, and share because when you do, you help keep these stories alive and bring awareness to important issues. Today we are talking about the heartbreaking case of Chesnay Patricia Keppler, a young crime prevention warden whose life was tragically cut short in December 2024. Her death shocked her community in Eldorado Park, Johannesburg, and quickly became national news. This story is not just about a shooting, but about trust, power, and the devastating consequences of domestic violence. We will go through what happened on the night she died and what investigators say led to her death. We will also look at the man accused of killing her and what has happened in court since then. I will explain the legal steps clearly so that everyone can follow along. Most importantly, we will remember Chesnay as a daughter, a colleague, and a young woman with her whole life ahead of her. Let us get into today's case. Chesnay Patricia Keppler was only 22 years old at the time of her death, and she worked as a crime prevention warden in Gauteng. She was described by those who knew her as vibrant, committed to her job, and proud to serve her community. On the 26th of December 2024, what should have been a festive holiday period turned into a nightmare for her family. According to reports, she was at home in Eldorado Park when an argument broke out between her and her boyfriend. Her boyfriend was Sergeant Mandla Goodman Buthelezi, a 42-year-old police officer stationed in the area. Witnesses later stated that the argument became heated and that alcohol may have been involved. Family members and friends were present at the house during the earlier part of the dispute. At some point, Buthelezi allegedly left the house after the argument escalated. What happened next would change everything for the Keppler family forever. Within a short period of time, gunshots rang out. Investigators allege that after leaving the house, Sergeant Buthelezi went outside and fired shots through a kitchen window. One of those bullets struck Chesnay, fatally wounding her. Reports indicate that the firearm used was his official service pistol. Emergency services were contacted, but Chesnay did not survive the gunshot wound. The shocking detail that the accused was a serving police officer intensified public outrage. The matter was referred to the Independent Police Investigative Directorate, commonly known as IPID, because it involved a police officer. IPID is responsible for investigating crimes committed by members of the South African Police Service. Officials from IPID confirmed that a murder case had been opened. The scene was processed and statements were taken from those who were inside the house at the time. Evidence collection and ballistic testing formed part of the early investigation process. Sergeant Mandla Goodman Buthelezi was arrested shortly after the incident. He appeared in court facing a charge of murder in connection with Chesnay's death. During his first appearance, the court addressed procedural matters and postponed the case for further investigation. The prosecution indicated that the state would oppose bail due to the seriousness of the charge. The court heard that the accused had allegedly fired multiple shots during the incident. The fact that he was a police officer raised concerns about the abuse of power and firearm control. The magistrate emphasized that the matter would proceed according to due legal process. Chesnay's family attended court proceedings, visibly grieving yet determined to see justice served. Community members also gathered outside court in solidarity with her family. From that point forward, the case officially entered the criminal justice system. The death of Chesnay Keppler sparked widespread anger in Eldorado Park and beyond. Many residents expressed frustration that a young woman dedicated to fighting crime had allegedly been killed by someone sworn to uphold the law. Vigils were held in her memory and tributes poured in on social media. The tragedy also renewed discussions about gender-based violence in South Africa. Leaders and activists highlighted how often domestic disputes escalate into deadly violence. Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi publicly condemned the killing and extended condolences to Chesnay's family. He also addressed concerns about police conduct and accountability. The case became symbolic of deeper societal problems involving firearms and intimate partner violence. Community members called for transparency and swift justice. Her name became part of a larger national conversation. As the case developed further, it became clear that Sergeant Mandla Goodman Buthelezi was not the only police officer linked to events surrounding Chesnay's death. While he remains the man accused of her murder, investigations later revealed that another officer was also drawn into the matter. That officer is Constable Llewellyn Mayers, who was described in court as a friend of Buthelezi. According to reports, Mayers was arrested months after the shooting as investigators examined what happened in the aftermath. Importantly, he is not accused of killing Chesnay. Instead, he faces charges including attempted murder and defeating the ends of justice. These charges relate to allegations that he interfered in the case and attempted to intimidate witnesses connected to the investigation. Prosecutors allege that his actions complicated the process of gathering evidence. The case against him forms part of the broader legal proceedings tied to Chesnay's death. His arrest deepened public concern about possible internal misconduct within the police service. The involvement of a second officer intensified scrutiny on how the case was handled from the beginning. IPID officials confirmed that Mayers was formally charged and appeared in court as a co-accused in related proceedings. Court documents indicated that the state believed he attempted to interfere with witnesses who were present on the night Chesnay was shot. Allegations of witness intimidation are extremely serious because they strike at the heart of the justice process. If proven, such actions can undermine the integrity of a criminal trial. The prosecution argued that interference cannot be tolerated, especially in a case involving a police officer accused of murder. The defense, as expected, reserved its right to challenge the allegations. The court emphasized that both accused individuals are entitled to fair trials. Nevertheless, the presence of two officers in the dock sent a powerful message about accountability. Sergeant Mandla Buthelezi was initially granted bail after his arrest, but that bail was later revoked when he was accused of intimidating witnesses and he was taken back into custody. His lawyers have signaled an intention to apply for bail again, but as of the latest court reports, he remains in custody awaiting further proceedings. By contrast, Constable Llewellyn Mayers, the second officer linked to the case, was granted bail of 4,000 rands on the separate charges he faces and is currently out on bail. The story of Chesnay Patricia Keppler is heartbreaking, and it forces us to confront difficult realities about domestic violence and institutional responsibility. She was 22 years old, a young woman committed to protecting others, and her life was taken in an act that shocked the nation. Thank you for watching Voice Behind the Case and for taking the time to understand Chesnay's story. If you found this coverage important, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to help keep these conversations alive. Your engagement helps bring attention to cases that demand accountability. Until next time, stay informed, stay aware, and remember, behind every case there are human lives forever changed.